WDR Big Band is Westdeutscher Rundfunk, part of the Westphalia area of Germany, northwestern Germany. It's an organization that houses symphony orchestras, a jazz big band, a choir, I believe, and I am the chief conductor of the big band component.
The thing about Bob is he really comes from a player's perspective. So when you play one of his arrangements, either he sets it up for improvising, so somebody's going to play a solo over his composition or his arrangement, or you know that at some point in the arrangement, Bob himself is going to play a solo, and that really ups the energy and ups the game quite a bit.
And I think back to when I was in the Thad Jones-Mel Lewis Big Band for a short time. Whenever Thad was there and would play, it changed the whole equation musically. The band sounded very differently. When he didn't play, it wasn't quite the same. And I feel like, as a conductor, arranger, and soloist, you add another dimension to the music.
No one could make a melody speak like Bob could make it speak. A simple melody. And again, I think he has commented in workshops that came from his experience playing in orchestra and studying classical music and understanding the importance of really being able to state a melody beautifully connected with all the right ingredients. And he's a master at that.
I've been working as the chief conductor now for 6 years and, 30 years prior to that. So I know these guys. I know how to write for them.
He still challenges himself. He's been doing this since the 70s or earlier, and he's still, going for the goalposts every time he picks up the horn, or every time he writes an arrangement. He's, honing his craft or pushing for something new, something fresh. So that's one of the inspiring things about having Bob as our chief conductor.
One thing Bob does, and I've heard him talk a lot about this, is he really tries to write for the musicians in the ensemble. He really understands what they do, so he'll really play to the strengths of the people in the band.
We've got a band full of soloists, and a lot of the players have been with the band for years and years, decades even, and everybody has their things that they like to play or that they like to do, and Bob quickly figured that out, sussed that out, and he'll definitely write for specific players in the band.
Chief conductor in this instance is very similar to, say, a principal conductor of a symphony orchestra who does a certain amount of the concerts, but then is off doing other things, and guest conductors come and work with that orchestra. And the same holds true with the WDR Big Band.
I've known Bob for years. I used him as a guest on a couple tours with my quartet and my organ trio with Jared Gold and McClenny Hunter.
Dave is, he's a really great guitar player, of course.
We were doing some of the material from my 8-track project, is where I've taken some tunes from the 70s and put my own spin on them and rearranged them.
He sort of had these ideas for tunes that, we've all heard before, but really changed the format. And I then sort of took those ideas and, and expanded them further to work in a large ensemble setting.
We went over there in, I think, April of 2019 and spent a week. And they do this all the time. They bring in guest artists and rehearse with them, and then do a performance and record it and play it for all over Germany. And it's a state-sponsored big band. It's an incredible thing. we wish we had over here, but we don't. So we walked in, and he had arranged the music, and I already knew in my mind I wanted to make it a record on my label because I knew it was going to be great, and from the first note it was incredible. Just the band is, all virtuosos, and it was, and they play together so much that it's just a really tight band.
The Yellow Jackets, fairly recently, we did our last CD called Jackets XL with the band.
Well, one thing I think that's very uniquely Bob and distinctive of many of his charts are these interlocking rhythms that he will write, and he's told me he thinks that influence came from him studying and playing Renaissance music, and that these interweaving melodies and rhythms he encountered in that music. So he'll write very tricky rhythms, and you might not have a lot of people playing your rhythm with you, but if everyone plays it correctly, it all lines up. So that's one of the real distinctive characteristics of his music. Also, Bob really knows how to shape a chart. Like it really tells a story. A beginning, a middle, it reaches a climax, and then he wraps it up, in an intelligent way. And I think he's written, I want to say like thousands of charts. In the early days before notation software, we would be traveling with the Jackets on the airplane, and he's writing his charts out, no instrument around. As he says, he's listening to the band in his head.
That was another situation where two great entities come together in a very comfortable way, and we all knew one another. The Yellow Jackets had worked with that band in the 90s. I had almost 10 days to rehearse and record this music, which was very luxurious from my perspective, because I've done 20 big band CDs of my own, and most of those were done 2 afternoons, on a sort of hurry up basis. So this was very nice, just to be very deliberate and calm and try things and do multiple takes, and it just felt very comfortable, and I think the resulting music reflects that. As an arranger, it was really fun to use that compositionally, just as another voice folded into the big band orchestration, and I thought this, the sound of the iwi really integrated well into the big band, but in an unusual way. It was like, wow, what's that? I really liked the timbre and color of playing iwi, in the ensemble. Of course, the key to playing that instrument musically is to play it as if it were an acoustic instrument rather than a synthesizer. So, where breath, velocity determines volume and timbre, similar to the way it happens on an acoustic instrument, that's really important. You know, otherwise it just sounds like a synthesizer playing in a big band. But I tried, you know, through expression to really, you know, create something that was in keeping with the expression in the music.
I mean, of the musicians I know, he's definitely the most productive, the most take care of business, the person who can keep the most balls in the air at one time. It's just, it blows me away, his work ethic and his ability to get stuff done and keep moving forward. He was at one time the head of the USC Jazz Department, doing arrangements for the big band, doing, you know, however many dozens of arrangements for the WDR every year, touring with the Yellow Jackets, doing his own big band. And I mean, it's insane. The guy is remarkable.